Hello again. This is Houndawg, and thanks for joining me for a flight in another historical aircraft from the past 100 years of U.S. Navy carrier aviation. Today is 30 August 1948, and we are flying in the McDonnell F2H Banshee on board the USS Leyte CV-32.
Radio check, 123, 321, radio check. In early 1943, the Navy issued contracts to 4 manufacturers for new carrier-based jet fighter aircraft. One of the companies was McDonnell Aircraft, who set to work designing the FH-1 Phantom that would become the first purely jet-powered aircraft to land on a U.S. aircraft carrier. McDonnell was relatively new to the business of designing and manufacturing military aircraft and had certainly never designed a Navy carrier-based aircraft. The new Phantom would prove to be significantly slower than the Army Air Force's P-80 Shooting Star. However, the Navy was still impressed with the new company, and in March 1945, only weeks after the Phantom's first flight, the Navy issued McDonnell an order for 3 prototype aircraft of the Phantom's successor, the F2H Banshee. Banshee being the name of the mythological Irish spirit that wailed and screamed right before someone's imminent death. Initially, the Banshee was intended to be a modified and improved Phantom, but the McDonnell engineers soon struggled with the need for heavier armament, greater internal fuel capacity, and other improvements. While similar in configuration and appearance to the Phantom, the new Banshee would be much larger and more powerful, with no common parts shared with its little brother. The F2H had larger and more powerful Westinghouse J34 turbojet engines, almost doubling the thrust from the J30's 1,600 pounds to 3,150 pounds each. The wing roots were enlarged to accommodate the new engines, which required a larger and thicker wing of 41 feet 6 inches. The fuselage was lengthened 12 inches and strengthened to accommodate the additional fuel required by the bigger engines. The cockpit was fully pressurized and air-conditioned, and the flaps, landing gear, folding wings, canopy, and air brakes were electrically operated rather than pneumatically. The front of the canopy was made of bulletproof glass that was electrically heated to prevent frost. The Banshee was designed to accommodate an ejection seat and included a large number of improvements to other aircraft systems. The initial aircraft was fitted with a pair of very small wheels forward of the regular nose wheel that allowed the aircraft to kneel with its tail high in the air so it could be parked with its nose under the tail of the aircraft ahead. This feature was found to be of little use since the Banshee had folding wings and was omitted from later Banshee models. At this time, the Navy had decided to move away from the World War II standard 50 caliber machine guns in its fighters, and so the Banshee was designed with 4 20mm cannons mounted low on the nose to prevent pilots from being blinded by muzzle flash at night. Armament included 8 60-pound high-explosive rockets, or 6 500-pound bombs and 2 60-pound rockets. A mock-up of the new fighter, originally designated XF2D-1, was completed in April 1945. The project survived the end of the war, but development work was slowed, and the first of 3 prototypes was not built until late 1946. The first prototype flight was on 11 January 1947 from Lambert Field, St. Louis, Missouri, the manufacturing base for McDonnell aircraft. During the flight, the aircraft demonstrated a climb rate of 9,000 feet per minute, twice that of any World War II propeller-driven fighter. In 1947, the Navy redesignated the aircraft as the XF2H-1 after it ordered a different jet fighter from Douglas, another Navy contractor that was also assigned the manufacturer's letter D. A production order for 56 aircraft was placed in 1947. Manufacturing similarities with the FH-1 Phantom meant that McDonnell was able to deliver the first production F2H Banshee in August 1948 to VX-3 at the Naval Air Station, Atlantic City, for fleet testing and evaluation. only 3 months after the last Phantom rolled off the assembly line. Fighter Squadron VF-171 in Cecil Field, Florida was the first operational squadron to transition from the Phantom to the Banshee, now nicknamed the Banjo. On August 9, 1949, Lieutenant J.L. Furin became the first American pilot to safely eject when his F2H went out of control during aerobatic maneuvers. In August of 1949, the F2H was flown to an altitude of 52,000 feet, setting an unofficial altitude record for a jet-powered aircraft. The improved F2H-2s had significantly better performance, with strengthened wings for increased armament and detachable wingtip tanks. Some models were capable of carrying a 3,250-pound Mark 8 nuclear bomb. Other models were modified as night fighters with a nose-mounted radar. A modified F2H-2P became the first jet-powered Navy reconnaissance aircraft. It had 6 cameras in a 2-foot 5-inch nose extension and operated at 48,500 feet. The F2H-2 served in the Korean War, but was almost 100 miles per hour slower than the new swept-wing fighters, restricting it to ground attacks or high-altitude missions such as escort fighter for U.S. Air Force bombers and reconnaissance flights. The F2H-3 was a major change to the Banshee, with the fuselage extended 8 feet to increase the internal fuel load to 1,102 gallons, and the horizontal stabilizers moved from the vertical tail down to the fuselage and given a significant dihedral. The F2H-3 was fitted with a radar unit, enabling the fighter to be used for all-weather missions. It also had a removable refueling probe that could replace the upper port side cannon. These changes resulted in a longer, larger airplane that looked significantly different from its predecessors. The last Banshee model, the F2H-4, had more powerful 3,600-pound thrust engines that further increased top speed by 30 miles per hour and dramatically increased the aircraft's service ceiling to 56,000 feet. Banshee production ended on 24 September 1953 after a total of 895 aircraft were delivered. Unlike many other early jet fighters, no two-seat version was ever produced. A proposal to increase the aircraft speed by adding afterburners was canceled after a test aircraft suffered extensive damage when the afterburners were actuated. A much faster swept-wing version of the Banshee was canceled before it left the drawing boards. The last Banshees were out of service by the end of 1961.